What is going on, everybody? Bringing you guys a video here today about a strategy that I've been utilizing on meme coins. Specifically, Solana Memecoins is all I really dabble with. And the strategy is pretty simple. I'll give you guys a rundown on it here in a second. Now, before we start the video, I want to say that I am partnered with Nova Trading Bot, the best trading bot out there. Fastest TXs on the market. Just wanted to show that real quick, because if you're not using Nova and you're trading Solana, then you're doing something wrong. Now we're looking at a coin here. It doesn't really matter what you traded on. Could be any coin. Just using this as an example. This has been running recently. It's called Please. The meme was some JD Vance kind of joke. It's been going viral. Anyways, you want to find a coin, right? That's already been established. That's already been out for a little bit, okay? So this one had been running for about 2 days, okay? Now, what happens after a big run, right? 30 mil, that's pretty hot, especially in this market. It's been pretty, gloomy. Ran up 7,000%. It's gonna have a it's gonna have a pullback, downtrend, whatever you want to call it. This one in particular was 82%, which is pretty normal in meme coins, right? Like, they have a big run up and they're gonna go down just as hard as they run up. Okay, now I'll give you guys kind of the rundown. So you're looking for the big run ups, right? As I said, and you essentially want to wait till price kind of bottoms out. And one way I like to find the bottoms is I'll go in a higher time frame, right? And I will find order blocks. So the red candles right before a big run up, that red candle you see is basically, that's what you would call an order block. So if we look on some of the bigger time frames, I like to use the 4 hour a lot. Like this is an order block right here. Okay, so then I'll put on the magnetize. Boom, boom. And you see how price respects this order block, which is really bullish, by the way. I like to make them gray, so I'll do that. Boom. And then this is your order block, right? If you're really bullish on the token, you can be adding here in terms of like building your position. Building your position meaning like you put 20% of what you were gonna buy on the breakout and you kind of load it up there. Anyways, this is really important too. You want to grab your ray up here. You want to, instead of trend line, you want to use a ray, and also using the magnetize, so it's like kind of nice and exact. I'll go and then I will see where kind of price forms into a wedge, right? That's how I like to think of it. Like everything's kind of compressing into a wedge, and it's either going to go down at this point, you know what I mean, keep going down, or you're going to get a breakout. A breakout meaning, you know what I mean, it's breaking past it. It's, exploding past a certain area. And the area you want it to break out of is this downtrend line, right? You also want to be looking for a breakout in volume. So as you can see, not only did the price break out of this downtrend, right? You can see it, where's my brush tool? You can see it right here. Also correlating down here to the breakout of volume. So this is great, right? Like the volume was downtrending for a while, and then boom, you see the pretty clear breakout, which is super bullish. And you can see how far price ran up, right? After that breakout. After that, the breakout of volume and price of the downtrend, or the breakout of the downtrend and breakout in volume. You see it ran up to 173%, which is kind of good, right? But anyways, this is where you would enter, okay? So I took this trade. I saw the insane spike in volume, and I was looking at it, right? You want to be having your eyes on tokens, and I'll show you guys afterwards how to find tokens like these, where you can find the setups that you want. Now, the question is, where do you take profits, okay? I like to draw zones. I like to kind of draw a nice zone where price likes to bounce off of, aka support and resistance. So I'll draw a line that kind of acts as the support and resistance zone. So let's go here. We'll make it green. So these would be areas where you're looking to take either partial profit or all profits, you know? Because this is really a scalp strategy, but if you want to catch mooners with this strategy, it's possible, you know? You can see that price bounced off of here. Like, see how 4 times, almost 5 times, it bounced off of this zone as like a sign of resistance. So obviously it's going to happen again. So I took a little profit here, right? Now, where would I take profit next? You know what I mean? The next all-time high. Does that make sense? And one thing that's really important to remember, and I'll show you, is where you put your stop loss, right? So now the trade, you kind of want the risk to reward in terms of, you know, how much am I gonna expect it to draw down, or how big of a loss will I take compared to how big of a win? You know what I mean? So you always have to kind of keep that in mind when you're entering a trade. So say we enter at around 14 mil, and you're aiming for kind of this, right? The lowest you want your position to go would be 3 mil, right? Just for an example. You know, below this point, you're like, okay, this is where I'm gonna sell, and this is where I'm gonna kind of sell it if I'm in profit up here. And it's important to understand that when you're going into a trade, because if you don't have like a plan, it's kind of more gambling, and obviously memes are quite of a gamble. So but that being said, you always want to manage your risk. I think it's really important. It's something that I've been kind of learning recently, and it's all about discipline at the end of the day. But yeah, man, once you have your risk kind of set up and you're in profit, right? Say I'm in profit and we're, you know, at 25 mil up here. We've already taken a little bit of profit, right? What I would do, move my stop loss. And the way I determine that is whenever we break an all-time high, and I'll show you here, or whenever we break a new high, like a local high, I will move my stop loss to the swing low. Okay, so every time a high like this is broken, I'll move it to the swing low. Same thing here. If we break this high, I would have put my stop loss down here, right? I actually just took all profit up here, so I didn't need to worry about that anyway. Because it's nice to also leave room for it to run, right? If you wanted to let it run, this is a great kind of strategy to go by. And if you didn't want to leave it run, you know, you might ask, where should I take profits at? And what I like to use is I'll go to the Fibonacci tool, and then I'll find where the first run up happened, right? So say it was this, and then we'll put on the magnet button as well, so that way everything will lock in. So these particular points, the 1.618, the 2.618, all these values are mathematical levels where price might bounce off of, or if it breaks through, then it'll probably go to the next level, right? So in this case, we absolutely blew through the 1.618 level. You can actually see if we extend it over. We actually turn off the magnet so I can get it, just like so. We used this, we broke it, we used it as support, right? Which is super bullish to see. That means you're most likely going to keep going, okay? And these are either gonna, you know, stop price, or they're going to get broken by the price and then used as kind of like a bounce pad to keep going further up. And then you can see it's not exact, right? And meme coins are never exact, so I draw zones. So I like to draw a zone around here, for example. If, like, say we entered down here and we applied the same strategy somewhere down here, then I would do the same thing here. And then you can really go, it can really go as high as the 8.168 level. But at this point, if you're still like in a trade at this point, you just want to fucking get the hell out because it's, you know, it's run its course. You know, same thing here. Downtrend, 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 triple touch. Started disrespecting the line. And then price kind of, like I said before, price kind of wedges together. You know, it creates this kind of pocket where it either explodes up or it just kind of keeps respecting that line and then trailing under it, you know? So price ended up busting out, and this is an example of one that kind of kept running, right? Like one that just fucking mooned after it broke out of its large downtrend. I mean, this is what, since the all-time high, this is like 30 days, so like a whole month of just downtrend. You know? Then how much did it run? It ran like a shit ton. And what would you have done? You know, you could have caught this if you were just taking profit. Like, say you took profit here. I would have taken profit here. What was? Would have taken profit there and then there at 60 mil and then probably up here. But then if it kept running, what would you have done? You know, you would have used a stop loss. So look, every time it broke its all-time high, you can put the stop loss below the swing low. Boom. I think this might be a MEV candle. If that's a MEV candle, then it would be there. Boom. Put it there. Every time you break it a new high, it's you know, the same thing. Boom. There. Boom. Once you break this high, stop loss there. And you can be taking profit as you go up, you know what I mean? This is like the moon bag. There's, you know, there's different ways you can play the strategy. You can be fully out, or you can kind of moon bag it, like this one would have rewarded you for doing. But it's kind of like up to you. Like, do you want to hold the coin for that long? Like, you would be holding this position for, you know, 21 days. I mean, that's a crazy move, right? You know, from 20 mil to 335 mil is insane. And, you know, these can happen. This is crypto. Anything can fucking happen, okay? So you need to expect the unexpected. This is just an example, you know, that I found. And you can see here that price was kind of downtrending. You know, you get 3 touches. That's like the golden rule. I like to find 3 touches. 2 works, you know, a lot of those examples were just 2. So 2 works fine as well. But when they have 3, I like that as well. 2 to 3 is the golden pocket there. And you see here that price broke, was kind of trending on this line as like sort of just chilling here, and you were like, okay, you know, it looks like price is respecting this area. So it kind of looks like it'll go higher. And it did, right? It did a little move. It did a little 80% move. That's pretty good. So if you set up your support, or if you set up your risk to reward ratio here, it would have paid off, you know, and you would have taken profit there. And then boom, you would have called it a day, right? In and out in less than a day, right? And that's the goal. You don't need to be staying in these trades too long. This one is a nice other scalp, so you can see that it touched 3 times. Boom, on the 3rd one, price is kind of disrespecting this line. Disrespecting it, boom. It'll do a little fake out sometimes, especially in memes, you know, expect a lot of fake outs. And it ended up kind of doing a nice, well, I keep doing that. And it ended up doing a nice move here, you know? And you could have been set up like this. Okay? And you should be using Nova, you know, shameless shill, you should be using Nova because you're going to get the fastest kind of fills. If you need to have a stop loss set, Nova will do that for you. You can use my referral link down below. This is actually another trade that I took on ARC. Now, this had a huge run up. Crazy story, I actually have I actually had a 300k entry on this fucking coin, on this coin. Kind of back when it came out, I was trenching, and I saw it, and I bought into it at 300k, and I sold it at like a mil, not even. I think at like 900 k for like a 3x. And then I wake up the next day, I'm like, holy crap! I think it ran to like 50 mil, which is crazy. You know, 50 mil is still crazy, but just to see it like run to 600 mil after like I got in so early and just completely melt my face. You know, I mean, I didn't want to trade this until it was done on its move. You know, I didn't want to FOMO in anywhere here. I wanted to wait till it kind of had a nice downtrend, and then I did take this trade. So here you can see it did a triple toucher. Boom, entered right as this candle kind of closed. And I took profit actually a little bit early. I think I took profit like right here, yeah. I was a little under this. So my risk to reward was something like this. You know, with the stop loss kind of right under this level. It was a nice little scalp. Anyways, that was kind of a gist of the actual strategy. I know this has been kind of a long video. I'll probably refine this later. But I just wanted to get one out of just me kind of talking to y'all and giving y'all a little bit of wizardry that I've been using, where I can just live my life. Like, I don't really have to stress about these, because like this one, for example, was how long? Like 8 hours. I just went throughout my day and I set stop losses, like I set or take profit targets. Like I set take profit targets up here, right? And then I came back and then I just exited the trade. You know, like staring at new pairs is great, but this is better because sometimes you know this is gonna happen. If you know this coin's gonna do good, then you know it's gonna go through its downtrends at some point. Every coin does. Like look at Trump, for example, right? Trump coin. Everything goes for its downtrend, and you can capitalize on when it kind of breaks structure and starts moving upwards and catching these little moves. That's what you want to catch. These moves are where you're in and where you're out, right? Or you can kind of do the moon strategy where you only sell like a portion of your bag on the way up, and you know, set the stop losses in case it doesn't. You're chilling, you know what I mean? You're minimizing your risk and you're maximizing your profit. That's the goal, right? Now I'm gonna show you guys how I find these coins. So go over to Dextrainer and go ahead and click on new pairs. We're already on the screen, so we don't have to. And you're gonna want to find where it says filters. Click on that, and you're gonna want to erase the maximum 24-hour one. I like to trade Solana, like I said, so I'll just go specifically on Solana. Liquidity doesn't really matter, but it's kind of like three things. It's the market cap. You want to have a minimum of 250k, and the 24-hour volume you want to have at 500k minimum. These are both minimum, okay? Now this is the most important one, is pair age, minimum 168 hours. That means any coin younger than a week won't show up on this filter, okay? Now you can trade the strategy on coins that are younger than that, that are like running, so to speak. But this is shown to be the best way to find coins that have like a sort of a base holding it up, because anything younger than a week has a tendency to like easily die. There's not really community supporting it yet, you know what I mean? So these are the filters that I like to use, and then I'll sort by age, okay? So you can find, like you would have found Please, you know, with this, I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's only been out for what, 10 days? But basically you scroll through these, and you look at any of these that looks like they're kind of bound for like a breakout. Like this one, for example, you could even go and kind of draw something such as this. Like it almost like this is perfect right here. Look, you see it respecting this line in a way from the all-time high on fucking, you know, Bitcoin, whatever it is. You know, this might actually be a good trade right here. And where would you take your profits? Boom. You know what I mean? Find zones such as these. It looks like kind of this is the first zone you would attack. Like that's how I think about it. Like you're attacking a zone and you're hoping that the zone that you're sitting on is your ally. You know, you're using this zone as your ally zone where you're going to be bouncing off of and breaking it away from, and you're going to be attacking this zone so that way you can use it as a base. You know what I mean? In like a sort of like an army term. Like you want to break this, take it over, use it as support, and then keep going type shit. You get me? So that's what you're looking for. And these filters have been a way where I'll kind of snipe some tokens like these. Like that's how I found ARK, you know. Obviously I knew about it, but having this whole list here is super, you know, super nice to have. You'll find coins that you don't even really like know existed. Like this, for example, like I don't know what it is, but I'll try and see if it would be a good setup. This was like a MEV, so we'll start the line from here. Looks like it already kind of has broken out, you know. Or if you kind of draw it like this, so here, we'll do the ray. Yeah, so it kind of broke out and then use this area as kind of a support zone. You get what I'm saying? This price has been kind of using this as a way of supporting itself around 10 mil. You know, it's normally around a lot of psychological levels. And it looks like it's, you know, looks like you're attacking the zone. You get me? Like if you entered here, you would already be up 25%, right? So that's how I like to find the tokens that I trade off of this strategy. Now, you can find them anyway, kind of that works for you. This is just how I do it. And this is just kind of the rundown of a way I've been kind of developing a strategy, because with my new pairs, trading that's kind of just how I like to gamble, and I'll go for kind of moon or dust plays, and it's just like whatever. I'm not really thinking about the technicals of it. But this is the strat I've kind of been developing that I'm really comfortable with, and that's what's important, you know, in the whole meme coin market, is like finding a pocket where you're really comfortable at, and then just fucking working that bitch and juicing it for all the money you can. So that sounds really Jewish, but you know, we're all here to make money, right? So if you find an edge in the market, the goal is just to juice that as long as you can. And until it doesn't work, then keep juicing it, man. But yeah, traders, you guys have an awesome one. I hope that could help. Like I said, I'm going to refine this strategy as I go. So I might make a new video on it and kind of, you know, make it easier to understand. I know this one was a little bit long, but I just kind of wanted to talk and give my full-fledged breakdown of the strategy. So you guys have a great one.